welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we're going to talk all about sublimation paper. Which one's my favorite, what's the differences, and we're also going to talk about copy paper and laser paper as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. So let's go ahead and first start with which one's my favorite. My favorite sublimation paper is TruePix Classic, as well as TextPrint R. I actually started out using TextPrint R, and I got that from Heat Press Nation. So when I first started getting into sublimation, I actually purchased my very first sawgrass printer from Heat Press Nation, and then it actually came with a paper. So whenever I purchased my product from them, it came with the paper and the ink and all of those things. So I started out with the TextPrint R. Now, I had the opportunity to go to the Sawgrass headquarters several years ago, and they taught me quite a bit whenever it comes to paper. So they actually recommended TruePix Classic, and I've been using it ever since. I love it. Now, they also do recommend using TextPrint R, but for certain things. So for example, they really like to use TextPrint R for things like ceramic, as well as, for example, your metals and things like that. So it does get its use, but you could definitely use the TruePix Classic across the board. But definitely, these are my two favorites. So TextPrint R, I used it for probably a good 2 to 3 years before I ever was introduced to TruePix Classic. But TruePix Classic is one of my absolute favorites. Now, one of the things about the TruePix Classic that's confusing to people is there's no logo. How do you tell the difference from the front and back? Whereas my TextPrint R, and hopefully you guys can see this on camera, the TextPrint R has a logo. I can see it, okay? And other brands do the same thing. Some people have a blue background. Some people have a pink background. And that's kind of how the TruePix Classic is. So how do you tell the difference? Whenever you hold this up, you can actually roll your corner over. And the side that is dingy is going to be the back, and the side that is white is going to be the front. So if I rolled this in this direction, I would be able to see that white, and I would be able to see that dingy. So that's the one way that you can tell with TruePix Classic. So if you guys are ever curious about that, and it may be like that with other brands, I haven't tried, but just try that and see. Because for example, if we were using something like a copy paper, laser paper, you would roll that edge and they're both going to be white. Not with sublimation paper. You're going to have a front and a back, because sublimation paper is designed to hold the ink in a certain way to release it, whereas copy paper really just absorbs it in there. So we have our front here. Like I said, you're just simply going to roll it over, and that's how you're going to figure it out. Sawgrass actually taught me that tip. So TruePix Classic is one of my absolute favorites. I've purchased it for years, obviously now, and I purchased it between either Amazon, and if it's not available on Amazon, which we have all of these linked down below for you, if it's not available on Amazon, I'll grab it from JP Plus. They usually always have it in hand. Now, the one thing I love about TruePix Classic is they have all of my paper sizes. So all the way from an 8.5 by 11 to my 13 by 19, they carry it all. I even believe they carry the big rolls. So you can definitely catch all of those papers and have that one paper that you absolutely love, and you can get it in all sizes. Not all brands do that. For example, we have Starcraft here. This is another one that I really like, and I have found it pretty comparable. So if you're going to be using the Epson, and say, for example, you're using the Starcraft inks, I would highly recommend sticking with that paper. And like I said, it really kind of reminds me, it's similar to that TruePix Classic, just a little bit different, and I'll explain that in a minute. It kind of has like a silicone, if you will. But this one right here, it comes in two sizes. It comes with the 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17 currently while I'm making this video. They may eventually come out with more sizes. But say, for example, if I absolutely love this one, I wouldn't be able to get the 8.5 by 14, and I wouldn't be able to get that 13 by 19. So that's something to consider. Figure that out right away of what you want to do. But maybe you love this one, and then you're going to do those sizes with the TruePix Classic. So that's something you can think about as well. I do love their packaging. It's very similar to, you know, the packaging whenever it comes to Cricut and their printable vinyls and stuff like that. I love sleeves like this because they have this little flap here. It's easy to store, Whereas, say for example, my TruePix Classic, depending on what brand, it's all made from TruePix Classic, but different sellers. TruePix Classic themselves, they put it in this cardboard box. So once I open it, I load it, but maybe I only want to load a few sheets. So they're in these cardboard boxes. And then also, for example, there's another company that I purchased it from Amazon, and they'll put them in a Ziploc baggie, which I'm fine with that as well. Something that I would be able to store it. So that's just something to consider as well. I do like the packaging, but it comes down to the paper. I do love it. And definitely, if I was recommending an Epson printer, I would be, this is my favorite ink for the Epson right now. I have tested all of the inks. I've put a lot of inks to test personally myself, and I will say the Starcraft is the best for the Epson, and I do recommend the Starcraft paper because whenever they're designed together, they're designed to work together. So like I said, this has like a silicone feel to it. So it's definitely different than this one, but I definitely compare that quality to the TruePix Classic. But like I said, it's really different. It has like a silicone, and it's just on one side, the side that needs to release. So you can really tell that difference here. And Starcraft does the same, where they have their logo on the back. All right. So there's just a few of them. Once again, I would steer away from the ones that feel like watercolor paper. If you have purchased them, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, but mostly those generic brands that you find, for example, on Amazon, and I purchased mine from Amazon, but it's a brand that it's TruePix Classic. There is some off brands, like I said, and they have, usually the ones that have that pink backing, the blue backing. The paper is very thick and it feels like watercolor paper. I'm not a fan of that, and I don't think it works the best, and I think it absorbs quite a bit of ink. I think you're wasting, and then you're not really getting that ink into the product. So I would definitely steer away with those. And when it comes down to it, I know that even a brand, A-Sub, is another one that's a lot of people's favorite. I have not tried it. I definitely need to get it and try it out because I know that it is a lot of people's favorites. And it's the exact same price as I get my TruePix Classic. Now, TruePix Classic does kind of fluctuate just a little bit depending on where you do get it from, but those prices I have found comparable. So that's something. Maybe the next time you go to purchase one, just try the paper. I really do love it. And like I said, I will definitely purchase that A-Sub so I can put that to the test as well. So your big thing is, number one, you have some that have logos on the back. Kind of helps us there. You really want to look for this silicone type of feel. It's this really soft where when you have paper and copy paper, this is really, really soft and gentle to the touch. So that's something you want to consider and pay attention to because it's going to release those inks. They're designed to release the inks and not absorb. So that's one way to explain it. So copy paper and laser paper, they're there to absorb, and this one is not. This one's here to let it float on top of that paper, which at the same time, if you guys have ever printed, you know that it doesn't smudge, so it's really neat the way that it does work. So that's that. Now the question I know that you guys have is, can you print on copy paper? Can you print on laser paper? The only one I will recommend that will get you through, you are going to be wasting ink and you are not going to get the absolute perfect crisp color and saturation. But if you are in a pinch and you need to quickly print some things out, you ran out and you're going to need at least 5 to 10 sheets before you get your next one, just go with laser paper. That's going to be your best option. Do not use copy paper. It's not going to work. It's going to, you know how whenever you get copy paper and you get it wet with too much ink and it kind of has that buckle on the back where it's almost kind of just wants to tear through. You don't want to do that. And like I said, the laser paper does help it float just a little bit, but you are going to lose a little bit of that saturation and it's going to absorb just a little bit there. So that is something to consider, but you can definitely get away in a pinch with some laser paper. So, and it doesn't matter the brand, honestly, just grab yourself some laser paper. Now, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the importance, which I think I'll go ahead and drop the camera down in a second, of a print manager. So why is it important? For example, Sawgrass has their own print manager, whereas if you purchase an Epson and you convert it, it does not have one. So when you print, you're printing everything at the same level. I know that there is some brands that have came up, I do believe, with some sort of system a little bit like that, but I still don't think it's 100%. That's one thing that makes Sawgrass is they do have that print manager. So it does put the inks out the exact way that they need. So I'm gonna go and drop that camera down really quick so I can show you what I mean. All right, so now that I've dropped the camera down here, let me explain to you why it's important to use something like a print manager from Sawgrass. So for example, in Starcraft, I'm able to tell it whether I'm printing on polyester, ceramic, you can see I put a P and a C so I can tell the difference here, and whether I'm using metal or MDF and all of those things, because the print manager is going to tell us how much ink that we need to use for each one. So for example, I'm going to bring this up here and hopefully you guys can tell the difference. Let me get it up here really quickly. So hopefully you guys can tell the difference here. You guys see the word love, for example. You see how it's lighter here. Hopefully you can see the same thing with that purple there. And even that blue, I think you guys can distinguish there. So this is for polyester. Polyester does not need as much ink, whereas my ceramic is going to need more. So if I go to put this on the ceramic, so if I print it with polyester and I go to put it on my ceramic, I'm not going to get as deep as a color. It's not going to be as vibrant as it can be if I had set it with a ceramic. So for example, if I was using an Epson and I was printing it out, I may not realize that I'm wasting so much ink, number one, and number two, I may be over giving ink to a product and I may be under giving ink to a product. So that's something to consider as well. And hopefully, like I said, you guys can see those. I'm going to go ahead and show you too, even this side, the hot glue gun. You guys can see how light the polyester one is and how bright the ceramic is. And once again, if I was to press these on a cup, this right here would come in much lighter than this one. This one's going to be so much more vibrant and rich because I use those correct settings. So once again, like I said, you can really tell even from like this little yarn ball here, you guys can see how bright purple that ceramic one is compared to the polyester. So I really hope that explains. Now, once again, you guys can see I printed these on my Tree Picks Classic, and I'm going to go ahead and try to show you guys while I have it flipped over and see if I can show you on camera. So hopefully you guys can tell that dinginess there from the bright. So we have a dingy background and then showing you again with that text print or how they have the logos on the back. So it really helps you distinguish loading those. But this one is my all-time favorite. As you guys can see here, I've been using it for the last several years. It's one of my favorites. And then my backup would be the text print or there. So I really hope this helps you guys in some sort of way. And there you guys have it. I really hope that explains the differences in sublimation papers, which one's my favorite, which one do I recommend out of all sublimation papers, and then also showing you guys the benefits and the reason why you do need something like a print manager. And there you guys have it. I really hope you guys have found this helpful. I hope that explains the differences with sublimation paper. There is multiple ones out there, but which ones are my favorite, which ones do I recommend, and then also the importance of why you should have something like a print manager to control those inks and why you have different settings from polyester to ceramic and what those do for you. Also, if you guys are interested in these designs, we currently have these available in a bundle I have linked down below. Now, if that bundle is no longer available while you're watching this, you can definitely still purchase these by themselves, and it comes in such a great bundle. These will be perfect not only to sublimate with, you can make stickers with these. There's all sorts of fun things. You can put these on coffee mugs, t-shirts, tote bags. I love this design. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.